welcome to the Intuitively Wild podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Levine. Living intuitively wild is about coming back home to ourselves. Here, we talk about how to live connected to ourselves, others, and nature, and make a commitment to radical authenticity, vulnerability, and acceptance. On this podcast, we delve into a wide range of topics that span the human experience. We peel back the layers and talk about the things that are often not talked about. This is a space for us all to walk and wander this path of life together. Let's dig into our roots and go deep. Hello, and welcome back to the Intuitively Wild podcast. I'm so excited to be here for so many reasons. First and foremost, it is so beautiful out. We are finally, I think I can say we are finally past winter. It really kept trying to hold on, but I think we're finally in the crux of spring. I think it has sprung. I've been driving around recently and seeing all the cherry blossom trees and the little sprouts starting to grow, and it just has been bringing me so much joy. And so I'm recording this podcast outside. I just simply could not go inside. I have to be in the sunshine. I really pushed myself this winter. I didn't want to complain. I didn't want to get lost in the anxiety and deep, dark hole that winter darkness can drag you into. I wanted to utilize all the magic that winter can bring and the reasons why I have decided to embody and embrace seasonal living. And I really did that. I really did. I'm proud of myself. And at the same time, the last few days when it was supposed to be spring and we still had snow, my limits were really tested. Mother Nature and I had a little talking to, and now she's showing up for us. And it's reminding me just why I so long ago did lean in towards eternal summer. But I did love winter. But in a different love. It's a more love-hate relationship with winter, I would say. And it's a very scorpionic relationship. Spring and I were only on good terms, and so I'm basking outside in the sunshine, and I'm so happy about it. With all of that being said, welcome to our monthly ritual of sitting down and reflecting on the month that has passed and setting intentions for the month to come. We are in May. When I record this, obviously, we're at the very end of April, but when you are listening to this, we're in the beginning of May, and I can't really believe it. My brain doesn't know ever what time it is, because also I'm always planning in advance for work, for content, for events, for all these things going on. So I'm honestly thinking a lot about May and June already. And so I forget what month we are. I forget what's going on. But it still is wild to me that we are finally in May. I think also astrologically, people have been talking a lot about April, the end of April, May, because that was really when things were going to start to pick up. And we've talked about that a lot here on the podcast, how the beginning of the year always is really not the energetic alignment with this new year action energy. But especially this year, it is not. And that really didn't come into place until recently. And I don't know about you, but now I'm feeling it. We still are in this in-between because spring is an in-between season. And I talked a lot about that in last week's episode in our ritual for Beltane. But I definitely have felt things start to pick up, and things that I've been working towards or wanting to happen or planning for a very long time finally have been happening. And we're going to talk about a lot of things in this episode. I also am going to try really, really hard not to edit this episode too much. So we'll see how that goes. I don't edit too much at all, but I mean, like, I don't want to edit out. I'm going to try not to edit at all. I'm not going to try not to edit my stumblings or my ums or my likes or me fixing my hair. You should also, which reminds me, watch this on YouTube. You can see the sunshine. You can see me in my glory. And you might even see an appearance with Theo. But we're going to see how this goes. So April was an interesting month. It was a lot of things happened for me in April. I moved, and I am now officially in my new home and have been for a month. I moved on April 1st, and I'm really loving my new situation. I love my new home. I love the town I'm in. It feels really aligned. I loved where I was before, but it's still... the home never felt like mine, first of all. I think I always knew that my lease was only for a year. And so I think that in of itself kind of set me up for this temporary relationship with it. And also, I knew it was someone else's home. The family lives in the city, and they always were kind of planning on coming upstate soon. And when their child was at a certain age, go to school here. So it always felt like someone else's house. And this house, one, I'm able to stay longer than a year. I don't know how long I'm going to stay, but the option is there. And the intention is also there at the moment. And it really does feel like mine. I don't know the whole history of the house, but I think it was completely redone and I don't think anyone else has lived in it before me, and the person who owns it doesn't live here. He really has no interest. Like, I don't know what his future relationship is with it, but currently it doesn't seem like he has any interest in the house. He's like, you do your thing, you live there, it's your house. Obviously, he's my landlord, but yeah, he doesn't even live here. So when I've needed help, someone else comes, and it really feels like my house. And as always, I let my intuition guide me here. It was a scary process for a bit because my time of wanting to move was April 1st was coming up, and I still hadn't found the place. And the place I found before this that I almost went to, after I felt good, I thought I was going to say yes to the house. And then I was driving away, and I felt my anxiety start to build and build. And I listened to that. And the next day, that anxiety and that suffocation in my throat was still there. And what I got from that as I processed and talked about it is that house felt too claustrophobic for me. It was very square and built on top of each other. And it was a fine size, but it wasn't even that. It was just the fact that it was... the layout just felt very contained versus this house. It's ranch style, so I do have a basement, but it's all one level, and it's close to the town I want it to be close to, but I have a big front and backyard for Theo. There's space, and I'm Valley's environment and human design. I need space. I also need to hear nature, and I am near a road, so you might hear some cars go by, but I really am separate. It really is very peaceful here and feels like I can be in my own little haven, and then I drive into town and I'm around the town I want to be in. So I feel really grateful to have landed here. And although I had been so anxious leading up to the move, because my brain kind of goes haywire when there's so many little menial to-dos, ultimately it went really smoothly. And again, for that, I'm grateful. And I was pretty much all unpacked in that first week. And now I really am fully settled. And I feel grounded. I feel at peace. I feel at home here. And that's a big deal for me. Like, I feel rooted here. And it's a new feeling. I feel like I'm meant to put roots here. And also at my spring equinox event, I met two girls who live in this town and I didn't even know. And so that felt very synchronistic and like a little sign from the universe. And one of those girls, actually, her name is Lily, and we are now co-hosting an event together on May 31st. So if you are in the New York area or going to be in the New York area, upstate specifically, I highly recommend coming to that event. It's going to be a tea party, a ceremonial tea party for Mental Health Awareness Month. And I'm really so excited about it. I'm going to do the ceremony part. We're going to do a little tea ceremony, some visualization, meditation, breath work, and journaling, and then community connection and some other rituals built in there. And then we are going to have a little casual tea party, and we're going to have one of Lily's friends who lives in the area. She's going to be doing tarot reading, and we're going to have, it's at the Lily owns Pink Clementine, which is the consignment store in Kerhonkson, New York. And then her and her partner's family own the restaurant Mill and Main in Kerhonkson. And we are going to be hosting it at Mill and Main. And they are going to be doing the food for it. So it's going to be little tea party snacks and lots going on there. Just lots. After the ceremony, lots of time to hang out, community connection, painting, the tarot, all the things. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. And it feels so meaningful for me to be doing this collaboration with someone I met at my first event, because the whole point of these events and the whole direction Intuitively Wild is going towards is community. And to have done this event, my first event in New York, my first live event in a really long time, my first event like this ever, to push myself to do that, and then to meet someone who I feel, many people who I feel really deeply connected to, and now to be doing another event with one of them, it's really special. And I'm excited for all the future collaborations to come and the future community building and deep bonds. And I know that this May event is going to be really special as well. Even though we are going to be digging into topics around mental health, which can feel heavier or more challenging, there's going to be lots of play and joy and lightness, which is why I really loved this Mad Hatter's Tea Party theme. I don't know if I said that. It's a Mad Hatter's Tea Party. Because it has that balance of shadow and dark, light, and I wanted to say dark again, but I think play and challenge, or it has that dichotomy. It has the both and also the fact that it's all interwoven, it's all interconnected. You can only be as connected to your joy as you are with your grief. And you can only be as fully alive in your positivity as you are let yourself go into the depths of your soul. I mean, you have to have both. You have to be able to do both. If you're only staying in the light, it's superficial light. It's not the true light. And it's time for us to talk about the things that we thought we weren't able to talk about, and to show each other that it's not so scary. It doesn't have to be so secretive or shameful. And, that's what this whole podcast is about too. And so I'm excited to bring that to life at this event. And Lily will be on the podcast for a tea time talk. She's going to be in person recording and this month before the event. So really looking forward to that as well. And April was a time of, I guess it was this combination. It was really this in between. Like, I started to feel like we were moving forward and things were happening. And yet it was a slowness. Kind of like in the past, we had been stuck in the mud and we couldn't see anything in front of us. And now the path is starting to clear, but we're still walking through the mud. We're getting the mud off our boots, you know? And now I finally feel like we're walking out of the mud and onto a more clear and clean path. And I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to that. In April, I also got 2 new tattoos. March 13th was my half birthday and Theo's birthday. And I wait for the tattoo ideas to come to me. I never pressure them. And when I feel intuitively called, I just know. And it always seems to happen either on my birthday or half birthday. And the same thing happened this year, where I felt the pull on my half birthday. And I actually had an appointment for my tattoos in March. And I ended up changing it to April because I was feeling a little bit of anxiety around it, and then there was the whole Venus retrograde of it all, and you're not supposed to do anything aesthetic or permanent to yourself during Venus retrogrades. And so I just decided to take that as a sign. I moved it, but I got 2 new tattoos. One for Theo. I'll show it on the screen. So if you're watching the YouTube, you can see the tattoo. It's Theo looking up at me. And then the other is on my rib, so it'd be hard to show right now, but it's more a representation of my connection to my spirituality, to earth, to my priestess path. It's a compass with all 4 directions and the associating elements with them and the sun and the moon, and it's really beautiful. I'm really happy with it. If you request a picture, I can show it to you. And my tattoos are honestly a radical act of rebellion for me in a lot of ways, because I think it's the one decision that my parents really, really don't support and would prohibit if they could. I've done a lot of things in my family that's different, or kind of makes me the black sheep, and yet my parents still try to understand and be supportive, and they've come around in a lot of ways, but my tattoos are the one thing that it's really, really hard for them. But I do it because they are so important to me. They're so meaningful to me, and they feel like they're meant to be a part of me. And so I have to do them. I have to get them. And I really loved the tattoo artist I worked with. I found her through my researching, and her handle on Instagram is the ink ritualist. So of course, and she's also a yoga teacher. And I had a really good experience, because I've had not bad experiences in the past, but when I got some of my first tattoos, one in particular didn't come out exactly as I wanted, because I was afraid to speak up for myself and to say, no, I'm not fully comfortable with this design yet. And I felt like he was getting annoyed with me and he just wanted to get it done. And I don't do that anymore. And also I'm grateful that this tattoo artist she was not in a rush, and she was really willing to sit with me and work with me. So those were the two of the biggest events that happened in April. And the other big event, so this has been a long time coming, and I'm actually not announcing it on any other platform for at least another week, possibly longer, depending on how things pan out. But you guys are getting the front row seat. You're getting the behind the scenes and the VIP access, I guess, to something I've been working towards and hinting at for a long time, which is the fact that I'm opening up a physical space for Intuitively Wild, and I have finally signed the lease. Ooh, it's scary to say. It's been, and I'll go into a little bit of the process right now, and then I'll share more details once I do fully announce it everywhere. And I'm going to be sharing a lot about the process and the whole journey moving forward. But this is something that, like I said, I've been working towards for a long time, but for a while I didn't think it was something I wanted to do. I always had this end goal, big vision of what I want Intuitively Wild to be. And think land, farm, renovated barn, the whole thing. But that's like future. You know, I'm not not ready for that for many different reasons in many different ways. And so I thought, okay, until then, I want to do it virtually. Like I want the business to be what it is. But the truth is, I that's not what I wanted. And that hasn't been working for me and hasn't felt good. And my dad actually floated the idea of opening a physical space when I moved to North Carolina, to Asheville. And I immediately shut it down. I was like, I don't want to do that. No. And I honestly think a big part of that is timing and place. Asheville was not my place. The town itself, I just couldn't envision myself there. And it really all hit me this past September when I was reflecting and really coming to terms with the fact that I wasn't happy with the structure of my business and things needed to change. And I don't remember, I think it was another conversation. It was another conversation with my dad where I was having a bit of a meltdown around work and life in general. And he was like, I think he just casually said, what if you got a space? Like, what if you got something physical? What if we did something physical, like tangible in person? Those weren't his exact words, but and I paused. And the conversation kind of kept going, but it hit me like, yes, that is what I want to do. And at first it really came as a surprise. And the more as time went on, that those next few days, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is the thing. And then I was driving through Rhinebeck, the town I used to live in upstate New York, and I saw this new retail spot for sale, and I reached out to them and I made a time to see it. And when I was walking, I was doing some work in a coffee shop before I was walking over to that appointment to see the place, and I just like doubled over with anxiety. And I was like, wow, I really want this. I really want to do this. I felt nauseous because it was like, I'm finally admitted, like going after what I really want. Because I think for so long in so many areas of my life, I've held myself back from that. I've stayed with what feels safe. And, of course, I'm always pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I'm always challenging myself and growing. But I think there's like a wall or a ceiling I put over myself. And this was like, no, this is going past the ceiling. Like, I really want this. And that ended up not being the space, but it was that first step of, okay, I'm going to do this. And then, so it took a while I said, universe, if this is meant to be the space, have it, like, I had to do a whole, Rhinebeck's very strict with certain things. So I had to like send in a bunch of stuff to the town and say, if this is meant to be the space, have it go through and I will say yes. It didn't go through, and that took like until November to hear back. That was a whole thing. Don't even get me started on that. But then I was like, okay, that's not the space, but I really still want to do this. And that started the whole journey of looking in different towns and considering different things and opening my mind to different ways that this could be than what I originally thought. And also starting to work on the ideation behind the offers and the structure. And I've written about this, but this is when I really started to reflect on and learn about how when the universe puts up walls in front of you, it doesn't mean that you are meant to turn around. It doesn't mean it's a closed, locked door that is a no for you. It often means, what lesson am I meant to learn here? How am I going to climb over this wall? How am I going to create my own door? What is a different, perspective I need to take? And if the universe puts a stop sign in front of you, again, it doesn't mean to just stop and stay still. It often means stop, pause, look around, process, learn, and then keep going. And there's so much to be said about timing. Really, 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 my mantra of the year is trust your timing, trust your path. I've had to do that over and over again. And it's been really uncomfortable and really scary. And there's been so many times where I've questioned things, but I've really never questioned that this is what I was meant to do, because there feels like no other option at this point. It just feels so obvious, like yes, of course, this is what I'm meant to do. Like, and I couldn't have done it before this. I didn't, that, again, it's been brought up before and I had zero interest, and I wouldn't even have a conversation about it. And then it came back around at the perfect timing. I was like, yes. So anyway, long story short, we looked in different towns and different places, and I kept kind of feeling out what I liked about different places and why. And this is where knowing yourself and your human design is so helpful, because I could piece together the puzzle of like why certain places felt good for me, especially around my values environment, especially around, needing to feel a certain way and really trusting my intuition to guide me, and my emotional authority and human design to guide me. For me, that's one and the same. And paying attention more to how things felt and the messages I was getting versus like, this is what makes logical sense, or on paper, this is what will attract the most business or the most foot traffic, or X, Y, and Z. And so I finally found a space in a little town in upstate New York called High Falls. And it is very small, but it's very close to a lot of neighboring towns. And so it's a good spot to attract from all different little communities and towns. And I love it. I'm a small town girl. What can I say? I was meant to live on a farm in the forest, and it feels really right for me. And then it was a whole long process of going back and forth with the lease and getting the insurance. It's really, we've been trying to sign this lease for weeks and weeks and weeks. And we finally have the second to last or third April. This is end of April. We signed the lease. And now I am starting to piece it together. And I'm not going to go into details right now about the offering and all that kind of stuff. That will be a future podcast once I have announced to everyone. But I will be starting to show the behind the scenes of building up the space and getting ready to open it. And, a lot is up to timing, and I'm really going to allow the timing to unfold how it needs to, because I can't do anything different. But my goal at the moment is to have the first event in the space, or the first offering, as an open house on the summer solstice. So stay tuned for that and for all the things to come. For the website launch, the rebranding. Yes, I've been working on a rebranding with the most amazing branding designers who I just could not speak more highly about. And for the full schedule. It's honestly so scary. Finally going after what I want and sharing it with people and announcing it, being seen, the risk of failing, the risk of succeeding, all the things. But more on that in a future episode. But that was April. It was big for me. Some big things happened. And now entering May, I have my list of intentions here. Let me get them up. And I have four main ones. First, focus on deep community and authentic connections. Again, my biggest intention is community. I'm so excited to build community at Intuitively Wild physically, and to collaborate with community for other events, like this event that I'm doing with Lily for the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, and to just have the space be a community space. I'm so excited for that, and to really put my roots down here in upstate New York, where I am in this little town. And that is, I'm not right in High Falls, but there are a couple close little hamlets nearby. And that's why I chose this location, because I already had the space. I hadn't signed the lease yet, so there was risk that I would move here and not have the space. But I knew it was going to work out. And so that's why I moved to this specific location. So yes, focus on deep community, authentic connections, both personally and professionally. Although for me, those are so intertwined. And to do so with where I am physically, to put down roots. The next one is speak with clarity, conviction, and confidence. I think I've spent so long, especially with work, not feeling confident and feeling insecure talking about what I was doing, or kind of self-sabotaging in a way, and not wanting people to know about it or not wanting it to be seen because of fear of failing, being successful. Also, because it wasn't actually what I wanted to be doing. I didn't want people to sign up for all these human design readings or X, Y, and Z, because I didn't want to do human design readings in that capacity, in that way at that time. So that's just an example. And now I am really excited about what I'm doing, and it's bigger than me. I want this space to be successful and to be what it is, and for people to know about it, because I believe it's so important to have this kind of space, and so important for this kind of community to be created. And so I want to speak about it. And also I want to let myself be seen and known in this community. I want to be known in the community. I want to be someone that is a pillar of the community. Yeah. I'm excited about that. Small town living. Prioritize intentionality even through the busy moments. So I know it's going to be a lot. I know things are going to come up. I'm going to be really, really, really drastically changing my daily schedule, which, if you know me, that's a really big deal, and I'm nervous about it. And also, I just know I'm going to be taking on different responsibilities and roles, and I want to be the embodiment of the work I'm bringing to the world, even through that. I want to live intuitively wild while growing the space for intuitively wild. And with that being said, actually, once I announce the space officially to everyone, which I'm thinking will happen May 14th, I'm going to be posting daily on Substack for at least 2 months about creating this space and embodying living intuitively wild while I do so. I'm still ideating, finishing the final process of ideating this Substack series, but it's going to be all about making space for ritual. One, making space in our life for ritual, and two, me physically making the space for ritual, for intuitively wild. So stay tuned for that. If you don't follow me on Substack, you definitely should. I'm leaning more and more into Substack, and I'm feeling really excited about it. I'm posting on notes every day, and it's not about needing to do it every day. It's come naturally. I didn't even set that as a quote unquote rule for myself. I feel inspired to share in this way, and I know that it will be really supportive for me, and intuitively and naturally it just feels like something I'm excited about. And again, I'll continue to check in and see how the cadence is feeling and the structure is feeling and all the things. But I want to document building the space. It's kind of going to be a little blog for me, a diary of sharing what is coming up and how it's all going. So yes, stay tuned for that. And that kind of leads into the next one. I think I might have said I had 4 intentions, but I have 5. Let my intuition make the decisions even when scary. I think that kind of speaks for itself. So I'll leave that there. But that's it. That's just like my life intention. But I think that that's going to be more and more important in the next couple of months. Or more times will come up when things are going to be scary, but I need to do it anyway. Feel shit and do it anyway. That's what we used to say in treatment. Let myself bask in the joy and excitement of the present moment. So I found myself already getting caught up in, I'm so nervous, like there's so many things to do. It's going to be so stressful to set it up, X, Y, and Z. And I've caught myself and been like, yeah, there's a lot to do, but doesn't need to be stressful. And also, I get to decide the rules and the timelines. Like, this is my business. And I'm creating a business that really has never been created for, in a structure with a schedule and offerings that have really never been created before. And I get to decide the timeline. Like, yes, I want it to be open by June 21st, but if that doesn't happen, I can fix it. I can shift it. And while creating something that doesn't exist has its benefits, it has its pros and cons. On the one hand, it gives me so much freedom to really make this work for me and to make this business be what I am. And at the same time, it's challenging because people don't understand it. On first pass, people are like, what is it that you're doing? But more on that later when I talk about the offerings. All of that to say, I get to decide that this, of course there are going to be things that bring up stress or anxiety, but I get to decide that I can do this with fun. Like, I can make this fun. I can make this enjoyable. Everyone tells you, oh, being an entrepreneur, being a small business owner, starting your own business, all these things are so stressful, so much work, so exhausting, so hard, bound to fail. I've heard it all already. I've barely told anyone. And it's already ingrained in me from societal conditioning. And yeah, I want to be realistic. Like, I know it's going to be really challenging. And I can do it from a place of joy and excitement. I can let myself feel how exciting this is. I can let myself enjoy, even when things get messy or fall apart a bit. I can be like, this is hilarious. This is so much fun, and I'm going to make it work anyway. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I am doing, and often have to remind myself of. And I think because May is going to be very focused on building up the space, I'm going to have to keep reminding myself of that. And also, like, finalizing any mundane to-dos I need to do, which I don't like doing. I don't like doing it. So we're going to make it fun. And again, that's another reason why I'm going to document it and want to share on Substack to hold myself accountable to making it fun and embodying the energy that I want to share and embodying the lifestyle that we are creating at Intuitively Wild, walking the talk, as they say, which I already do naturally. That's why I'm so passionate about this business, because it is my lifestyle, and I want to share it with everyone. And also, I am so passionate about this business because I need this lifestyle. Do you know what I'm saying? It's both. Anyway, I've rambled on for quite some time, and I actually think I did a good job, and I'm not going to edit this at all. So let me know how you feel about that after you listen. I am really excited for what's to come, and I'm really, really freaking terrified. But what keeps me going is the knowing that this is what I'm meant to do, and the community that we are cultivating, and you being here, you're a part of that. And it means so much to me. Like, I don't know how to express fully how much it means to me. The people who are supporting, and the community that's gathering, and, the impact, the people who are impacted, and who I'm having this reciprocal relationship with, So I want to hear from you. I want to hear your reflections, how April was for you, what your intentions are for May, anything you're hoping to see at the space, any questions you have. I just want to hear from you. You should follow me on Substack. You should watch this on YouTube. You should like and rate the podcast. Okay, I'm done. All right. Thank you so, so much for being here, and I will see you all next time for more magic. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I hope it helped deepen your connection to yourself, sparked some insights, and inspired you to live intuitively wild. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would share it with others and leave a rating and review. And please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. I will see you next time for more magic.